Hey there, this is Peter, and welcome to another Take a Break with Valley CAD. So what we're going to work through today is another simulation sort of tip, but we're going to be working through this thing called a trend tracker, and this is such an awesome tool inside of your simulation packages. And by the way, if you want to click along with me, if you have simulation, you want to try to learn about that trend tracker, I included the file that is needed that I use in this video in the comments down below. So go down and click on that before you see this next part there. But anyways, go get your favorite cup of coffee or tea, and I'll see you in SOLIDWORKS in just a click. Hey there, welcome to SOLIDWORKS. So I got a basic little angle bracket here with a simple little rib in the middle there, just to add some little strength to this part, right? And also to let you know, I came in and I set up a split line on this surface. So how I'm gonna set up this model is that I have these two mounting holes, and this back face, I'm gonna set that up as a fixed geometry. And this little lip that I created here utilizing that split line is gonna be where I'm gonna be applying my force. So we're gonna come up under simulation. We're gonna say, let's make a new study. And we'll just do a simple static study on this one. And then from here, what we need to do is set up our model to run a simulation. So we're gonna come in, we're gonna set up, let's apply a favorite material on this. Let's do 1060 alloy on that. And then from here, we need to set up our fixture. So Fixture Advisor, we could utilize that if we want to, or we could just simply come over to fixtures and we're gonna do fixed geometry. We'll click on these two cylinders and also this back face like so, and we're gonna use standard fixed geometry on that. Then we need to come in and do an external load. So just simply right clicking on these is where you could come in and add your variables on it. So in this one, we're gonna simply do force. And on the force, I want it on this lip, and we'll stay under scientific notations, and we'll stay under newtons, and we'll say we'll put 1,000 newtons on it. By the way, if you're not sure like the conversion between newtons and pounds foot force, after you type in your value, just simply come up to where it says scientific there, switch it to English. And it'll tell you, hey, you're gonna be applying 224 foot-pound force on it. Okay, cool. So we'll come back to scientific, and we'll say newton on that, and we'll say let's be 1,000 newtons. Great. From there, simply say okay on that. After we set up our variables on there, we can simply come in, right click on static there, and I can simply say run on that. So SOLIDWORKS is gonna crunch through some numbers here, and it's gonna tell me how we're gonna do here, right? So as we can see our stress, our displacement, we could all see our strain on here. And also if we right click on our results folder, we see a factor of safety. We'll simply say all on that. We'll say 1, and we'll just say areas below factor of safety. Cool. So we can see here, just by simply looking at our model here, that, hey, you know, we are gonna break, right? We're below factor of safety 1 there. So that's gonna be a problem. And we can also tell that by looking at our von Mises there. So we are definitely surpassing our capacity with our demand. And by the way, if you're not totally familiar with the simulation product here, actually, our very first 2 videos on our Take a Break series were talking about simulation, introduction to a static simulation, and how to update your properties on it. So I encourage you, put a pause in this, check out those very first 2 videos that we have, and learn a little bit more about simulation before we start learning about this cool tool called Trend Tracker. All right, so now we did do this, what we want to do is come in and implement Trend Tracker. Okay, so Trend Tracker, and why would we do this? Well, I'm gonna come up under static, and when you right click on that, and if I would have named it something else, just simply right click on it, and you'll see this thing that says Trend Tracker. So once again, Trend Tracker, that is available on your simulation packages. I know SOLIDWORKS Premium comes with some simulation capabilities on it, but this Trend Tracker is only for Simulation Suite. So if you have Simulation Standard, Simulation Pro, Simulation Premium, you have Trend Tracker. Way to go. So as we come in, you know, you're coming in and doing iterations on your designs, and you're going, hey, what happens if I increase my little rib here, instead of being 1/2 of an inch, let's increase it up to 2 inches or 1.5 inches? Or what if I want to change my material type or change the thickness on this bracket? I want to be able to track all that. And that's where this Trend Tracker comes in. So as I expand out Trend Tracker, you'll get this Word document that says Trend Journal. Okay, nothing's there yet because we haven't set up what's called a baseline yet. So I'm going to simply right click on Trend Tracker, and from there it says Set Baseline. So after setting up our baseline, SOLIDWORKS is going to go through again, and it's going to create a point graph for me. So if I double click on mass 3 there, it'll show me this point graph and saying, hey, your iteration 1, your mass here is roughly 0.668 pounds. Okay, not bad. And then from there, we come into stress number 3. We can see where our von Mises iteration is going to be on it. So we're at 64, give or take. And then from there, displacement is going to be set up as well. Okay, so now that we've set that up, what we get to do now is come in and make iterations on our design. When we do this, SOLIDWORKS is actually going to save the model and update it for me with those different iterations. So for example, we could come in and change our material type. Yeah, we'd come up here, simply right click on that part icon there. We could say let's apply a favorite material to it. And we did 1060 alloy on it. So what if we change it up to AISI 304? Okay, so we need to come in and we'll need to do another run on there and update our model. And you'll see that SOLIDWORKS comes through and it crunches the numbers again. All right, great. And we can see what our displacement is and we can see where our factor safety is. Hey, factor safety might be okay now, but let's see. So if I come over to where it says Trend Tracker, I could double click on where it says mass. We'll see here that our mass has not changed, right? Because we haven't changed any geometry on it. Now our weight has changed possibly, right? But as we come in from here, we come up under stress. We'll see that our stress load here, our von Mises, has increased. Okay, cool. And displacement, because our von Mises has increased, our displacement should decrease, which it has. And so it's able to track all that for you. Yeah, and that's just changing the material. Now, what if we want to see how factor safety looks as we make iterations on this thing? Well, to do something like that, we could come up to our Evaluate tab. From Evaluate, go to Sensor. And then from Sensor, we could switch to Simulation Data. Instead of being stress, we'll say, let's do factor safety. And we'll say model minimum on that as well, and simply say, okay, cool. So now that we have that set up, let's come in, let's say we have to right click on Trend Tracker, and we'll say Add Tracked Data Graph. From there, we click on that mass 1 there, and we'll see our minimum factor safety 3. In my situation it is. From there, say okay. Now that we're able to track our factor safety, we can see, hey, where can we get our least amount of mass, and where can we get our highest level of factor safety. So because I added that factor safety after I did another iteration, you're not going to see iteration 1 being over here. It's going to be based off of whenever you added that graph on there. So keep note on that as well. So let's say I come in and let's say I update my model. So like if I come in here and say, all right, let's come in and that boss base extrude number 2 there, right? Let's say I want to update the geometry on this to be a little bit larger. Okay, so we'll come up in here. We'll simply, let's say, edit that feature. And instead of being 1/2 of an inch, let's make it so it's 1 inch wide. And then simply say okay to that. Now my model is updated. So I'm going to right click and we'll say run again. SOLIDWORKS is going to go through and update the iteration on it, update my numbers. See how this got wider now for me. And then after that, I could come in and we'll say, hey, what does my mass look like? Well, my mass has definitely increased. I was at 0.66, give or take. Now I'm up to 0.76. So I've added 1/10 of mass on that. Okay, cool. Stress on here has decreased significantly because I added more material on it and so forth. And then also we can look at our factor safety. You'll see that my factor safety has increased as well. Pretty cool being able to see that. Now, if you are, you need to create a document to show what your trends are looking like as you're making iterations on it, that's what this little Word document is. So if we double click on that, that'll actually bring up Microsoft Word for you. And from here, it'll put a date stamp on there for you. So you can actually see, hey, this is what I'm doing as I'm making adjustments to my model. And you can actually see what your factor safety is looking like. You can see what your mass values are looking like. So it's really cool being able to see that, and you could create a report from that. So once again, that's just showing you guys how you can come in and utilize the trend tracker in SOLIDWORKS Simulation. If you are enjoying these videos, and by the way, I really do appreciate you watching these videos, and hopefully you're getting some really awesome nuggets. But if you are enjoying them, please click that thumbs up button. Also click subscribe so you can get notified of future Take a Break videos and other videos that we are posting here at Valley CAD. Well, anyways, my name is Peter. Thank you again for watching this video. Have a great rest of the day and make sure you learn something new.